Seth.
It's so lovely to see you, Ellen.
It's lovely to see you as well. I only wish that it was in person, but I see that you're coming to us from your studio. Will you be shooting any minute now?
We actually already wrapped up our show, taking advantage of our East Coast time slot over here in New York City, and so this is a wonderful way for me to end my day.
Yes, I see. That's true. You're 3 hours ahead. I forget. I thought it was all about us here on the West Coast. We just live in our time zone. Last time you were on my show, you had another son. I saw this picture of both of them playing the piano. I'm hoping they know how to play piano, because if not, that's really just noise.
Oh, it was nothing but white hot noise. That was just a miserable day saved by one cute photo.
I see. And then you went and got him off the bench?
Yeah, it was one of those things where somebody said, "Get them away from that," and then someone else yelled, "Well, you might as well get the one picture." And then we pulled him away.
Who plays piano there, that you have a piano in your house?
That was my in-laws' house, and neither of them.
Okay.
The word for it is phonies. I think they're piano phonies.
I see. Just looks fancy.
You know, the kind of people that want you to feel bad about yourself when you come over because they have a piano? Yeah. And then you say, "Which one of you plays?" And then they just change the subject.
Right, yeah. No, it does look fancy to have a piano in your house, but they're phonies. So your first son was almost born in an Uber. Your second son was actually born in the lobby of your apartment building. Are you going to have a third, and where will that one be born?
Well, I think if we had a third, the issue would be, how do you top it, right? I mean, it's every comedian's biggest fear is that you've already had your best bit and you have to come up with a better one.
Yes.
So maybe while skydiving? How's that?
Okay. All right. Hopefully you have another little tiny chute that you can put on there.
Well, that's the thing. How do you get the chute in?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that it can release.
Right.
You've already thought this through. Let's offline this.
All right, yeah. Yeah, I guess, well, no, I have ideas, but I'm not going to say them. I just learned today that you were starting out in comedy and lived in Amsterdam. You did improv. I went to Amsterdam for the very first time recently. How was that to live there?
I mean, one of the most beautiful cities in the world, an incredible place to live. I was there right out of college. Not a bad place to do comedy because they all speak English very well. But weirdly, you'd rather perform for a Dutch audience than a stoned American audience. That's what I learned in my years.
Wasn't the highness of their state of mind helpful in comedy?
I don't think it is. I think if you're there in the moment as a performer, it's very frustrating because if an audience is too stoned, they'll just laugh at the hat you're wearing when you walk out on stage. And that takes away from, you know, all the intellectual things you want to say to them. They've already lost it on the hat.
I see. Well, that's on you for wearing a silly hat.
Yeah, that's very fair. That's very fair.
Let's talk about late night. You celebrated 7 years hosting this February.
Can you even conceive of 7 years hosting a television show, Ellen? Can you even imagine?
I cannot imagine what that's like, 7 years. Yeah. You have signed on till 2025. That's amazing. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Very kind of you to say.
So it seems that you're enjoying it then.
I am enjoying it. You know, the trip is I started working in this building when we first met in 2001. I think that was the year, my first year was when you hosted SNL, and I've been using the same ID for almost 20 years come this summer. So it's a trip to think it'll maybe hit 25.
Wow. But that's really cool, because you're you're on the same floor as SNL. So you're with your pals all the time, and that's a fun place to be.
They don't want to see me anymore. This is very interesting, because I thought they would miss me desperately and want me to stop by all the time. But you know how it's a little sad when the guy who went to high school keeps coming by years after he graduated? That's sort of how they treat me.
Oh. I'm sure you're joking. That's extremely sad, if not. So you've been doing, like I am, these Zoom interviews, and you had an interesting moment last week. I think, was it last week?
It was last week.
Yeah, tell everybody what happened.
So we were interviewing the Secretary of the Interior, Deb Haaland, who is a fascinating woman. And it was a thing that was impossible to ignore, which is her photographer, Tammy, did not realize that she would be on camera while she tried to crawl behind her. And the best thing was that she thinks you can't see her. And you do not have to be eagle-eyed to see this person right there. But for me, again, and as it would be for you as well, nothing's better than when something goes wrong like that. A victimless error.
Yeah, that actually is what you're hoping for. Because otherwise, it's just an interview, just like any other. All right, hey, Seth, we're going to take a break, and I think we're going to play a game after this. We'll be back.